In this video, we'll show you how to create this layered hibiscus flower using the knife tool and random stitches. Let's get to make it. We will start by opening the clipboard library. Locate the hibiscus flower. It's the Flora 4D design and click Insert to proceed. With a single left click, it is placed in its original size and orientation. Make sure that proportional is checked and set the width to 70 mm. Set the X and Y to 0 to place the flower at the center of the axis. Now, right-click and select Ungroup. If you select any of the petals, you can see that all of them are selected. This means that they are combined. That's okay. Having the petals selected, right-click and use the Auto Border option. We want one repeat to the outside at a distance of 1 mm. The Remove Holes option should be checked and the type should be running. We'll use this new line as our cutting line to split the petals into sections. For this purpose, we only need the part of the line that is on top of the petals, so we will remove this part. Start the node editor and split the outline at 2 points on this section. Then use the Break Apart option to separate these sections and delete the unneeded part. We want to separate every petal into 5 sections. Make sure that Add New Object as Clones is disabled. Select the running line and, holding the Shift key down, resize it to mark the first section. Duplicate the outline and repeat the process 3 more times to the inside. We want clean cutting lines on top of the petals. So, start the node editor again and edit these cutting lines as you want them to be. When you're done, select all the lines, right-click, and use the Combine option. Then select the petals and the lines, right-click, and use the Knife option. In this way, the lines will cut each petal into 5 sections. Keep them selected and change the fill properties to satin. At this point, we want to set a different color to each section. We will create an ombre palette using different shadows of pink for each section. So, starting with the outer section, use a dark pink color. Select the next section and set a lighter pink color. For these inner sections, I want to have lighter stitches, so I will increase the density to 0.70 and set the underlay to tucking so that it is not visible through the lighter stitches. Continue with the inner sections by setting lighter pink colors. For the last inner section, use the lightest shade. Now, let's close the gap in the center of the flower between the inner sections and make them all one part. To do that, draw a circle in the middle of the flower to cover the gaps. Now, keeping the circle selected, select the inner section and weld them all together. To have the stitches run from the center to the outside, start the Stitch Flow tool and set a point direction in the middle. Using the node editor, fine-tune the shape of this inner part. To create some kind of shadow at the base of the flower stigma, we need to create a duplicate of this shape. Scale down, holding the Shift key pressed to keep the same center, and use a darker color. Set the density to 1 mm. Also, we need to set the remove overlaps to never, as we want this center part to come on top of the other. That's it for the petals. You may change the color of the stigma and the pollen grains as you like to match your preferred color palette. We may also add a couple of leaves to the design using the clipboard library. I'll insert floral leaf 01. So ungroup the design and delete the stem. I think I'll just stretch it a bit as I'd like it to be a bit longer. Set the type to satin if it's not already chosen. Set density to 0.5 mm and set any fill color you like. To make them more realistic, try adding some shades of color. To do so, create a duplicate and holding the Shift key down, scale down the duplicate. We want this part on top of the other in light density. So set the remove overlaps to never, so that this one goes on top of the other. Set the density to 1 mm. Use a different shade of green and set the underlay to tacking so that it is not visible through the stitches. Place it where you like it best, and once you're happy with this one, duplicate it and use the Mirror Y option. Adjust the size and placement. Take your time to experiment with the placement and colors. Now I want the embroidery sequence to start from the outer sections and go to the inside ones. To do that, let's switch to manual mode. Select one part of the outer section. Now, right-click on one of its fill colors and choose Select by Fill Color. On the Sequence Manager, right-click on one of the selected icons and use the option Join Together. This will bring together all the items of the same color. To get a better view, we can enable the Group by Color option from the Sequence Manager if it's not already enabled. In this way, we can see all sequential objects of the same color together. Repeat the process for all colors. I'll also change the order so that the darker color is embroidered first and the lighter one in the end. Check the sequence using slow redraw. It looks great. Let me just show you how to enhance the blending between the sections. An easy way to do that is by using random stitches. Select all objects of the outer section. Set random value to 25% and then choose random side B. For the inner sections, set random to 70% and random side to both. For the last shapes, set random to 25% and random side to A. And set the underlay to tacking so that it is not visible through the stitches. Likewise, for the inner part of the leaves, set random to 25% and side A or B as needed. To enhance the blending, you may also use the node editor and move the upper outline of each inner part on top of the outer one. This will blend the stitches even better. You may also edit the stitches or move some stitches around to make it look more natural. Using the stitch flow, you can alter the direction of the stitches for a beautiful result.
Likewise, use the Stitch Glow tool for the inner part of the leaves. Select the stigma and move it to the front of the design and set random to 0%.
That's it, we're done! You may decorate your sewing projects placing the design directly on the fabric as is. I'm actually making a patch with this design, which can be used to embellish garments or be used as jewelry. It will actually make a striking brooch or even a matching pair of earrings, perhaps scaled a bit down. So select the leafy parts. Use the auto border option to the outside at 3 mm and remove the holes. In the same way, you can create an auto border for the flower part. Weld the auto border lines to create a border around the whole design. You can edit the shape using the node editor. Now you have a border to help you cut the excess fabric of your patch. You can do it manually using scissors or use cutwork needles for effortlessly crispy cuts. If you plan to use the cutwork needles, change the outline to cutwork. Check running before and offset at 1 mm. We're ready to go, so let's get to make it. For this project, we need stabilizer, felt fabric, a suitable hoop, cutwork needles or scissors, and assorted threads. Start by hooping one piece of felt fabric along with one piece of tearaway stabilizer. Place the hoop on the machine and start the embroidery. The leaves will be embroidered first, along with their shades. Then come the different shades of the petals. Starting from the outside, the darker shade, all the way to the center of the flower where the colors gradually become lighter. Final details will be the characteristic stigma of the hibiscus flower and the pollen grains around it. Next, a running stitch around the design will be embroidered. If you're not using the cutwork needles, you may use that stitch as a guide to cut around your patch. In case you're using the cutwork needles, after the supporting running stitch is embroidered, change to the cutwork needles, following the instructions of your machine. Proceed with all cutting needles as instructed. The embroidery part is now finished, so we can remove the hoop from the machine. Remove the tearaway stabilizer from the wrong side of the patch. You may use your patch as embellishment to customize a garment or upcycle an old one, or add a pin to the back side to use it as a brooch. Use your imagination to create a unique set of jewelry, or use your patch to decorate hair accessories like headbands or hair clips. You may use the same techniques to embroider this design directly on plain fabric to elevate your sewing projects. The choices are endless. Do share with us your own creations and follow us for more projects.